Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. I have no idea where my partner in crime is. He will be here eventually. I'm assuming. I have no idea, but I'm sure he'll be on. You are joining us on the X Fan Show here on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, broadcasting through the Pro Football Alliance studios. And you can find us on YouTube and all of that good stuff, being sponsored by Teal Alpaca. So if you want any of your stuff like your Battlehawk inspired gear right here, ear warmers. It's cold here in St. Louis, people. So, yeah, the football inspired head warmer would be a great thing to get. But let's really get to it. As you see in the title, Vegas drops the team info, plush trades, DJ and Dany at Arlington for training camp. So the first and foremost thing, thank you to the mayor. Arlington probably did oversleep, Andrew. You are right. Arlington probably did oversleep. And if you don't catch our show live, go back to Anchor right after the show on XFan Network. You can catch our show live. We keep putting new shows up. Oh, and look who it is. We have a man who's been a fan since day one. But before I bring him in, because, you know, he is in a certain city that is kind of having a little bit of issues with their season tickets, from what I'm understanding. But we're going to find out. Our one and only, our man, Jarrett. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. Doing just fine. I actually, for the first time in my life, I ran a full marathon, Miami.
Congratulations.
I'll never do it again. When 26, actually my watch says I went 27 miles, but I went 20, it said I went 26.2, but yeah, that was just a few days ago. I'm sore as heck, but I'll just stick to half marathons. But I'm over the moon over that. But XFL Guardians, I got 2 tickets at least right now. I was kind of tempted with that 23% off deal that they have to get another few, but I can hold off. The tickets were already cheap already. They were already affordable. So
well, I'm glad you said that about tickets, right?
Yeah.
So let's pull this. The big thing that everybody's been wanting to know is Vegas, right? Now, this comes from the mayor, Mr. Van Hurst. And let me go back to this. And here's what he says. The dark blue seats in the photo are the green tiered ticket prices at Cashman Field, and that is section right here, section 23 and for the 23 and 24 season. But let's really look at the ticket prices, Jarrett. Now, if you notice, there's this green right here along the field, right?
Yeah,
you see the green?
Yeah.
So that those tickets are going to be $18, and then you got the blue seats that will be $20. The $25 seats will be right here at the end zone, right? The 35, of course, are the red, and then these light blue ones are $45. So it looks like the 18 to 20, and let's see, 14 through 17, 21 through 23 are your gold seats, and 5 through 8 are also gold seats. Now, what's up, Sandy? You know, I mean, look, here it's Cashman Field, right? We know it's being converted from an old baseball stadium into a soccer stadium, right?
Yes.
I mean, look, for season tickets in Vegas, if you get any of these between 18 and 20, it's $225 for the entire year.
It's an amazing deal. I've been to Vegas multiple times. I lived in Vegas for a couple months and
love Vegas.
Yeah, and their prices are always expensive for all their shows. You know, a tribute show is like $50+ by itself. I paid, this is back before COVID and all that, but I paid $150 for a Circus Soleil show. Well worth the money, but now they're up to $250 or more now after COVID. Their prices on shows are way more now. So you're not getting as much value as you did before 2020. in my opinion on that. So, but anything $18 tickets. Oh my goodness, I'd be taking advantage of that in a heartbeat.
Right now, like right here, you see the soccer goal, right? So I'm assuming that's
Yeah,
where one of the end zones is going to be at, right?
yeah, it
Now
looks like
you
it.
can see the old baseball field right here, right? So
Hmm.
then I'm assuming these seats are right along here, right?
Hmm.
There's these little bitty seats right here that you can't really see. I'm
Yeah.
going to assume those are going to be those $18 seats. Now, mind you, there are some seats that do say limited view obstructions, right?
Okay.
But think about it. I mean, if I'm a fan, right,
Yeah.
and I'm seeing $18 for season tickets,
Or per
90
game. Yeah.
bucks, $90 for 5 games.
Oh, I'd be all in all day long.
I'm
I'm only going to Guardians. I would be going to more Guardians games. I would be a season ticket holder if I lived in Orlando, but I'm 160 miles away
right,
one
yeah,
way.
which I get
So,
it.
but yeah, I'd be taking advantage of this all day long. So
I mean,
NFL prices
listen,
are way more expensive.
I don't even live in Vegas, bro, and I might take advantage of that. Getting those $18 seats because trips to Vegas from St. Louis to Vegas are relatively cheap. They're only a couple hundred. They're only like $100, right?
Yeah, good direct
Uh,
flights.
Yeah, I mean, right here, and then the other seats I'd probably look into getting would maybe between the 5 and 8,
Hmm.
and then
Yeah.
to me, it's not a bad deal. I mean, does it? Yeah, I mean, look, does it suck that we're in Cashman Field? Sure, but we've documented why we're in Cashman Field and all that stuff for the XFL, right?
Yeah, it's northeast of the northern part of the strip.
Mm-hmm.
I seen the location. It's like out of northeast of Fremont Street.
Mm-hmm.
So, but at least it ain't like that. I was okay with the high school Bishop Gordon option, but it was so far
Mm-hmm.
out there. It was like 11 miles straight west out of the strip. So that might be an issue. They'd have to do like shuttle buses or something. But
Right? Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
I think this is a lot more. It's a lot more easier access to. I don't know. I could probably walk from the Fremont Street to, this Cashman Field. But yeah, you can
Mm-hmm.
take a taxi. You can take a taxi there if you're in trouble
I
with it.
mean, right, yeah. It's not like it's completely out of the mark. Yeah, thing. And Brett saying is the Vegas Vipers still not selling season game tickets yet? I mean, no, but the tickets open up actually if what it tomorrow for season
Mhm.
ticket holders, people who've already put their deposits down. That sale happens tomorrow, and then I think it's next week they go on to see single game day sale at sometime next week. But tomorrow at 10 o'clock Mountain, or is that's West Coast,
Yeah,
right?
like if I'm not mistaken, they're Pacific. They're right on the edge of Pacific
Yes,
time,
they
and
are.
that's where it's a
So
cutoff.
it's 9 o'clock their time, so that would be 11 o'clock our time here in St.
Hmm.
Louis,
Yeah.
and then it would be noon your right. Is that noon your time?
Yeah, Eastern. Yeah. I think this venue specifically is just going to be season ticket focused
Mm-hmm.
mainly. Like whatever's left of singles game tickets, they are going to go flying. I think, or in my opinion, because there's not going to be much. There's not as much capacity as Camping World Stadium or
Mm-hmm.
some of those your Battle Dome, for example. So I think that high demand is a possibility. Being you're not that far from the strip either, and
Oh,
the demand in Las Vegas is for sports is it's international. With Formula One racing coming there next this year later on,
mm-hmm.
and just things are getting bigger and bigger. The WNBA team they won a championship last year, and
Mm-hmm.
it all started with the Golden Knights going from coming to Vegas as an
Mm-hmm.
experiment for the NHL, and that's been that's blown up for
No,
them. They've
it's
been
been
successful too.
right. I mean, even with the NFL and how terrible the Raiders have been, it's been a success.
Yes.
I mean, look, I
Yeah.
mean, yes, like right here, DB Stallion says it is what it is. We got what we got. Now they need to get out there and promote. And you're absolutely right. They do. And hello, Keith. I have a feeling that I have a feeling that Vegas is going to turn out a lot better than what we expect. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I really, really do think Vegas is going to turn out rather well. I mean, there are some still cities I'm a little worried about. You know what I'm saying? And and Kyle right here, Kyle says, "Can you talk about the Seattle Sea Dragons?" And actually, I'm going to talk about that because they're the team, in my opinion, that kind of got screwed with their scheduling.
Oh yes, totally. Because they got to go to DC or something like that.
Well,
At
not
some,
just
yeah,
that,
or
but
they're in
the DC.
are they in the same division, right, with DC, which is crazy. I've
with
never
with
seen that
St.
before.
Louis, Vegas, and DC. They're part of the North Division. But here's
Yeah.
why I say the Sea Dragons kind of got screwed. And I understand why they did it from knowing people that I've talked to in there. You're right. They have 2 Thursday night games, right? They have the first Thursday night game on the 23rd against the Battlehawks, which I would love to go to it, but does it seem like I'm not going to be able to, but I would
Mhm.
love to go to it because I'd love to go to Seattle, right?
Yes.
Uh, then they have a Friday night game, and then they have and I think they got a Monday night game, if I'm not mistaken. So to me, you hurt your second biggest fan base in Seattle by doing that. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
How do
I
you
don't.
see it?
The Thursday night games, I think they could have done a better job with the scheduling. St. Louis could have been a first. They could have done Seattle week one. They could have done St. Louis week one.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been the best. I think the best outcome. I don't know about delaying it to whatever week. Is it week 4? You guys get your first home game in St.
Yeah,
Louis.
we
I
do.
mean,
So
that's
here it
that's
is.
too long.
So I
But
pull up like I said, I pulled up the Sea Dragons website, right? Now,
yeah.
they have Thursday night, February 23rd against the Battlehawks, right?
Yeah.
Then they're on the road again in Vegas. And then they're a 10 o'clock Saturday night game,
Oh
March
boy.
11th. But that's not going to be too bad for them because that'd be what, 7 o'clock for them, right?
Okay.
You know, and then another Thursday night game on week 5 at 8 o'clock. Then they're back on the road week 6. Week 7, they're back on the road. Week 8, now they have the Sunday night game at 6 o'clock my time. So it would be 3 o'clock their time, which that's perfect, right?
Yeah.
And then week 9, they come back to St. Louis, and then Sunday they're back in Seattle on the last game of the week at another 7 o'clock game. Which, I mean, and look, right here, he says it. The mayor says it. He lives up there. Seattle is number 4 in stadium priority at this point. I absolutely agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I really do think that Seattle could pull very, very well is if they maybe had more of a user-friendly schedule. But again, it's like the mayor said right here. Seattle is number 4 in stadium priority at this point, which I would probably say Vegas might be number 1.
Yeah.
Orlando be number 2. And
Yeah.
if you look at ticket sales, I would say Houston. See,
Yeah, Houston. I seen that seating chart. It looked like it was a lot of available, way too many available tickets right now from what you can see. It looks like they need to step up their game. I was thinking, since they had an Orlando press conference, which we thought was going to be the championship announcement, which it wasn't.
nope.
That was my biggest question was 2020, they had the press conferences for every venue or stadium, and they didn't get around to that, I don't believe, until now, and with just Orlando. But are they going? I wonder if they're going to go to each field and do a press conference for all the local sports markets, even though they've some of the local sports markets have already have gone after the teams and focused on them, even though they didn't really have an official press conference. But Houston Living, I seen they did a thing with Houston Roughnecks, for example. But I think they should do a press conference around each venue of the league to get to have a welcome for them. So
Okay, I see what the mayor's saying now. He says that they're number 4 due to the Seahawks, and then and I get that. I get that. I get why they would be the number 4 team there in Seattle at Lumen Field, right?
Mhm.
And I agree with this. I think there will be the XFL will get a lot of walk-ups on the fans in Brett's opinion, and I agree with that. You
Uh,
know,
I think they're waiting for it to, week 1 to go through, and once they see how whatever fun it is and
mhm.
more exciting it is, people will jump on board
Yeah.
and get tickets later on after they see it. I'll tell you one thing, I was really surprised. If you can look at the Oakland what am I saying? The Vegas Raiders YouTube channel, there's a video of them basically promoting the XFL Vegas Vipers, which I was really stunned by, because they actually had an interview with Rod Woodson, and they focused on the Vegas Vipers, which was really
Yes,
surprising.
they have.
I was like, wow, I didn't
Well,
think that, because everyone was saying how, supposedly Mark Davis doesn't like the Vipers, or didn't want to have it go through with the
here's what I
venue,
think
and
with Mark Davis. I think Mark Davis just wanted too much money.
yeah,
I'm just gonna speculate. You see me winking my eye, Jarrett?
yeah,
You see this? I'm winking my eye. Mark
okay,
Davis just wanted too much money. I'm just speculating. Mark Davis wanted too much money to open up the
yeah.
stadium
It's
for
so
the.
expensive. I
It
mean, it's a
is,
billion plus. It's a billion plus, if not more. More venues, so
and
it's not gonna be cheap.
right, and I'm looking at it this way. I mean, I wish people would stop saying, especially in St. Louis and especially in the Alamo Dome and stuff like that, we need to open up the entire stadiums, right? No, I don't
I'm
think
not
we
into
should.
that. I'm
No, I
not.
mean, would I love for them to right here fill the top? Sure, I would
Yeah.
love it. I would love it, but can you sustain it? You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Exactly.
And I don't
Yeah.
think you can. I honestly don't think they should even think about opening more stuff up in these other stadiums until year 1,
Yeah,
in my
don't get your
opinion.
hopes up, like if there's some surprises, that's great, but I don't like to get my hopes up. If there's some happy little surprises along the way, that's fine. But like
Look,
Camping World Stadium, that sucker holds 65,000, and
yeah.
the only time it ever fills up is when you have a great bowl game between,
Mhm.
like last few months ago, Florida State versus Oklahoma Sooners. I mean, those are
Uh-huh.
two-story programs. You're not, or like two-story soccer teams, Arsenal
Mhm.
versus Chelsea, playing it from London. They're coming from London to Florida. You're only going to get that once in a little while. So
Well,
I'm
I
a,
mean,
I like MLS stadiums being played. With Audi Field, for example. That's a 18,000, 20,000 is a good fit. Just depends on your location.
mhm. And I was at Royal Rumble, right?
Oh, okay.
I was in
Yeah.
Royal Rumble, not Royal Rumble, WrestleMania in
Oh.
Camping World Stadium.
Oh, okay.
Look, I don't look as much as I would love for them to open up the dome, right? I understand why they won't. And people have got to understand this is a money and logistics type of thing. That's what you guys got to understand, right?
You
Could
got to be
some
real. You got to be real
exactly.
and realistic.
Ex-
And we're not the one. We're not the ones with the financial throwing the money out for
mhm.
these things. They got to make this league try to
Now,
survive.
here we go, Jared. So let's get to some questions, right? Okay.
Okay.
So, uh Kyle says, "Who do you think is the best QB in the league right now?" Me, that's easy. He's in Seattle. My opinion. He's right up there in Seattle.
Yeah, I know. I'm hearing Ryan Willis could be really good with his time with the spring
But
league.
look,
Kyle Sloter, if he is not hurt and is protected, he could be someone to
hey,
look at, because he was doing good in USFL until he got hurt and
yeah,
didn't get protected. So
the guys, the guy, the one guy who was everybody was, there was 2 guys that were brought back in. Anthony Russo out of San Antonio got cut,
oh
and
yeah,
then Brian Scott, who everybody was like, "Oh, he's the automatic starter." If you really watched him in the USFL, he kind of listen, a good player until he got hurt, but he was kind of a
yeah.
D-bag to his teammates.
I mean, if you're like, I thought he was in this thing for the long haul. There was a video with him like, we're in this together with all the Vegas Viper players.
Yeah.
Did a huddle with them, and I thought he was going to be in it till for week 1. But I guess him and Luis Perez, they were competing, and I feel like he knows, and these other former USFL players, they have an automatic spot back. with
think you're right.
whether their former team. Hey, if it doesn't work out, you don't have to compete with us. You can come right back, no problem.
Listen.
They shouldn't do that.
Me personally, I think Brian Scott got cut. I don't think it was this mutual parting ways.
Yeah.
I think Brian Scott got cut because him and Rod Woodson didn't get along. And I mean, look, no offense. I saw what Luis Perez did in the USFL and the XFL.
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably take Luis Perez over Brian Scott anyways. Not that I'm saying Brian Scott's a terrible quarterback. That's just who I'm going to take, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, Luis Perez is just always solid, and he always does what he needs to do. And Brian Scott was fantastic with the USFL before he got injured, and he was looking to be the MVP. I don't know if he didn't like having to compete with other QBs for the starting position. I hope that's not the case, but because competition happens no matter what. Like with training camp, it doesn't matter if you're in the NFL, you're still fighting for that starting QB spot. If you lose, you lose. But if he was a backup, he should be okay with that. If he needed it, if he had to do that. So,
let's really look at it. I'm going to look at it this way. You make it right, and you're the starter on one team in another league. Do you really want to go back into a different league and be a backup, or would you want to go back to the other league to be the starter? And here, like Keith says, he didn't fit the coaching style, and it might be right. That absolutely might be right. You don't know. I mean, listen, I hope Brian Scott lands on his feet. I hope he goes back to the USFL and does good again and gets a chance to redeem himself in the USFL, in just my opinion.
Yeah, right? They'll have a spot ready for him because they got rid of some of the Maulers, Pittsburgh Mauler players, or the QBs. So there's going to be openings. Roland Rivers is out and Vad Lee is out with the Pittsburgh Maulers. It'd be like, here, we can't have two great quarterbacks with the stars here. Just go over to the Pittsburgh Maulers since they were not good last year, and now they can become relevant or whatever. So.
Yeah. Now, I mean, let's get to some of the trades. We've had some trades that were out there, right?
Yeah.
I didn't
expect any trades to begin with.
I didn't either. So. Like Brett had said right here, somebody had asked, about the best rosters and opinions. He's saying St. Louis in the North. It's St. Louis and Vegas, right? I mean, I don't know. I'm still going to say Seattle has that best roster.
Well, you got Josh Gordon, so he's proven.
You got Ben DiNucci.
Yeah, and I haven't really followed Ben DiNucci. I don't have a history watching him, but Arlington Renegades have a solid special teams. I mean, and Donald Payne, I don't know if he's with I think he's with the I don't know if he's with the Renegades or not, but they got some veterans on the Renegades, so I'm putting them as like my favorites to win it all right now. And I don't want to say that because I'd like to see other teams. I want Orlando to be the surprise if it's possible, and I'm hoping Paxton Lynch becomes like comeback player of the year because I don't know if he's going to do it though.
Right, Keith says Seattle and St. Louis. I mean, we'll see. Now, Kyle wants us, can you talk about the rules and what rules you like that are new and which rules you wish they would have kept from the previous years? I'm going to be honest. I think they kept all the rules, right? Pretty much.
I think the big thing was the 4th and 15, which I think kind of derived from fan-controlled football. You don't have to do the onside kick. You can do the 4th and 15 option and to get the ball back, to get possession again. I don't mind that. I don't mind them doing that. And they say you can only do that in the 4th quarter because what happened with fan-controlled football, they eventually got rid of it. But there was teams that were behind, and then they would keep doing that 4th and 15 over and over again, and it was hilarious because they did it like 3-4 times in a row, and they were converting too. So. It was pretty funny. But,
so here are the rules, and we're gonna get to it. But I do like this one. I do like what Sandy says. The Rent-A-Hawks down there in Arlington, Texas, right? Yes. Amanda's right. Do not underestimate the Guardians. Orlando has a strong team.
I'm gonna tell you one thing though. Like 2020, we had expectations. I don't know about you, but I thought Bob Stoops and Renegades were going to be the favorites during 2020, and they were like average. Landry Jones was like average at best, and then when he got knocked out, I think the guy's name was something Walker, but the backup was atrocious for the Renegades, and so like just because you guys have these preseason rankings and power rankings, they're not going to go to fruition most likely. There's going to be surprises along the way.
So. Right, and this is why I'm saying that the Renegades. Yeah, you could say Arlington has a great roster and all that, right?
On paper,
but here's why I'm going to tell you. Here's why I'm going to tell you. They have a guy who likes to run the ball all the time.
Okay.
And that's going to be the problem. As much as I love the Hayes brothers and all of that, they got Chuck Long back and all of that, and it's going to just run the ball.
I'm not a big fan of that myself, but
connecting people through reggae, tuning in from Fall Brook, Aloha Dirty and Company. Well, thank you for joining us. How about we're going to, listen, there's so much to talk about, but we are going to talk about the Spetboarding Abs. But this is what this show is about, guys. This is the X Fan Show. You can find us on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter. You can find us on our YouTube page at Pro Football Alliance. Tuning in. We got somebody tuning in from San Antonio. Well, thank you very much. We are sponsored by Teal Alpaca. And if you miss this show, you can go to anchor.com and just look up XFan Network, and you can get all of our shows. We're replaying the shows. I'm putting more shows up and all that. But you guys dictate what you want us to talk about. And let me get back to his question. Kyle said he wanted us to talk about the rules. So here are your rule modifications. A 35-second play clock, 3 overtime scoring rounds per team, 3 timeouts per half, fourth quarter onside kick, alternative option to keep the ball with a 4th and 15. Now, again, they kind of kept everything the same with the hey, Kyle, I'm glad you're from California. I hope you go to some Viper games there.
Did you go? What did you think of the 35-second play clock from the 25 from 2020?
If you're keeping the helmet, if you're keeping the mics in the helmet, I don't think you really needed to go
to slow down.
Yeah, I don't think you did. I mean, I get that's what I liked about 2020 was that innovativeness of the helmet, and they are keeping the microphones in the helmets and stuff where everybody can hear, right?
Yep.
And look, Amanda, I get why people like the 35-second play clock. It gives them a little bit more time to do stuff, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I wish they'd have kept it to 25 seconds, maybe put it at 30. But I get why they put it to 35, and I'm okay with it. I'm not mad, right?
No, I'll live with it. That's no big deal.
Right, yeah. Now, I mean, the things, extra points, they're doing a tiered extra points are back. Teams will have three run pass only options for extra points following the touchdowns. A 2-yard line equals 1 point, 5 yards equals 2, 10 yards equal 3. Yep, defensive awarded the same points for a touchdown. I think that's great.
Yep. I always liked, that was my favorite part of 2020 on some of that was I hated the extra points were always a given, it seemed like. So I love that. The passing options always. So
yeah. Now, the only thing that I don't like.
Okay.
The only thing that I don't like, right, is this right here. Consisting of alternating attempts from the opponent's 5-yard lines, 3 attempts per teams, 2 points per score, or until a winner is decided. Jared, I wanted to see all 88 players on the
field. Yeah, I remember
in an overtime.
A year or two ago. I remember you said
all 88 players. I wanted to see them on the field at one time.
That's not player safety, I don't think, but that's all right.
Who cares? 88
it would have been bloodshed. Yeah,
right.
Been like
so that's real. No, and listen, I think that's great. I do want to see an overtime.
Yep. I before it was 5 rounds, wasn't it? instead of 3, or maybe I'm wrong, from 2020. If
No,
we would have had it overtime.
yeah, it would have been 5 scoring opportunities.
And then after that, it's like a sudden death, if I'm not mistaken. After that,
right. And
if
Woody
it's
says
level.
maybe they could change the play clock after the first few games. I honestly don't think they're going to do what the
No,
USFL
that's
did.
not going to look good. They're like fan control football. Like I told you, they changed the rules on the fly, and that didn't really look good for them when they did that. Changing the
Right.
rules
And
immediately.
you see right here, Dean Blandina, what Michael said, and you could go check out Michael Latham's Player 54 podcast where he had Dean Blandino on, and
Yep.
Dean pretty much said it's the same thing from the rules. They are going to keep they are going to be doing the behind the scenes, looking into the challenges. Which
I think so. I would assume so with the transparency. Everyone loved it that were fans. They can hear the decision being called with with the headquarters, discussing what they're seeing at the time and then why they called what they called. And I love that transparency.
And Michael refresh my memory, but if I'm not mistaken, Dean did say they are keeping the Sky Ref, if I'm not mistaken, on your podcast. I'm almost positive.
I think they are.
Right?
That's what I'm talking about, is that transparency with the Sky Referee thing. So
yeah, so like you go to instant replay, right? So look, we know where their headquarters is in Arlington, Texas, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I have a feeling, and they have the centralized replay with all plays subject to review from the replay officer. Replays may correct errors on non-reviewable plays, which I think that's great.
Ooh.
Player safety at any point during the game, I think that's great. And any issues in the last 5 minutes of regulation plus overtime. Now, then they said that head coaches may have the challenge one on-field ruling per game involving those, including a foul or a potential foul. Final ruling made by a designated member of the officiating department in a central location.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tell you this right now. It's going to be in Arlington, Texas. That's where they're centralized. Yeah, that's where it's going to be at, right?
Yep.
So it's going to be interesting to see because, those are some of the new plays right there. Now, listen, you can go to XFL.com, okay? Yep. You can go to XFL.com, look up rule book, and the entire rule book is there.
Oh, yes.
Read it.
It's
now,
like
speaking of that, right? Speaking of that, right? Let's talk about the rule books, right? And stuff. They expanded the coaching's box. It's going from one 30-yard line to the next 30-yard line.
Mm.
Ooh, I don't know if I'm big on that one.
Now what? No, what is this again? The coach's box.
You know the coaching box, right?
I don't. What are we talking about with the coaches?
Where the coaches are allowed to stand.
So what? They're getting in the way or something, or getting too close to the field.
So like you realize that in the NFL, right? In the CFL, it goes from the 20 to the 20, right?
Oh, okay. All right, yeah.
The XFL expanded that 30 to 30.
Oh, jeez.
So now you've taken away some more viewing spaces for a looser or closer people onto the field, right?
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't know if I'm okay with them expanding. Well, okay, look, hold on. I'm not going to say that because this is an innovative league, right?
Okay.
They're wanting to do innovative stuff, right? Experiment. So, yes, they are. That is an innovation of what they are doing, right? Like when it comes to baseball, I'm a National League guy. I don't like the DH rule, right?
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah.
But guess what we have now? We have the DH rule, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, as a football purist, I don't know if I like that extra 20 yards on both sides of the field, 10 yards on each side of the coach's box now.
Yeah, I'd have to look at. I'll have to see once it's being done week 1 to have any sort of opinion on it.
Yeah. Look, you're right. As a purist, I'm just like, but let's see how it goes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I definitely didn't like the DH rule in the National League, but look what happened. Our National League pitchers actually pitched longer in the game because they're not getting wore out.
Oh, yep.
And you got a pinch run for them and stuff like that, right?
Yeah. I didn't like the pitchers hitting. Like, it was so funny watching pitchers hit the ball. Some of them would hit a home run, but it's very rare. So
hey. In the National League, how many? Listen. If you listen to a lot of Kyle, ask another great question. How many teams do you think will go for the 3 extra points this year after scoring a touchdown?
It didn't happen that often in 2020. It was only like there was only a couple successful tries.
But if you listen to Coach Hazlitt,
yeah,
guess what Coach Hazlitt said? He goes, "We're going for it."
They were saying that in 2020 also before the season started, if I'm not mistaken. They were like trying to scare their intimidate.
But think about it. Think about it though. What team went for the 3 points, the 3 extra points more than any other team in 2020?
Right.
The Houston Roughnecks.
Oh.
Who was their head coach?
Yeah,
Who's their offensive coordinator?
Yeah. So I think there should have been a 10-point. I think there should have been a 10-point because a lot of games are decided by 10 points.
That would have been great.
But the 9 points, all right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I get it. We wouldn't have had Albert Pujols. I get it. I know. So there. I mean, look. Here's what we do know, Jarrett. This is the X-Fan Show, right?
Yeah.
You can catch us on Facebook, Twitter, all that good stuff. We're sponsored by Teal Alpaca. I don't know where Arlington's at, but this is Jared. Thank you for joining me today, sir.
Thank you. I got to go to work. I will let you go, but have a great show.
You got to go to work?
I got to go to work. We
got 15 minutes left.
Oh, yeah. I got to work at 1:20 something. I got to get all of these clothes and everything.
Well, here, I was going to show you something real quick.
Okay, sure. Go show it to me.
So, you know that there was an event this weekend, right?
Oh, yeah. Was it Guardians related?
No.
No, it was. I know. I can't keep track of all the fan fests.
It was.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. I didn't see this. Oh God. What the Rock is. Oh, so yeah, he made an appearance at Texas Live because everyone's in the hub at Arlington. That's cool.
Well, him and Dany did, they made. And here's the one other thing that I want to play for you, because here's Dany talking. Right, let me get to it real quick. Talking about everything that they are expecting and stuff like that through this year for the XFL. Now I got to just find it, and I lost it.
I'm glad they did that. That's really cool.
Well, yes, they made an appearance, which I thought was really, really good for The Rock and Dany to make that appearance at the XFL. I'm loving that we're starting to see them more, right?
Yeah, definitely. The more The Rock can promote it, the better. And I seen there was an advertisement at the Royal Rumble for it because it was at the Alamo Dome, so that might help. So yeah.
Now here's Dany. So I want to play this for you, Jarrett, and then I'll let you go.
Okay.
Let me get to it real quick. Here is Dany talking at the Fan Fest.
My words to you, please take advantage of every opportunity. Build yourselves when you're on that field, when you're playing with that team, and you're listening to your coaches. Know that you matter to us, so matter to yourselves and go all out. My words.
So, Dany giving some advice to the players saying, hey, don't act like an idiot on the field, off the field, and stuff like that because you guys matter to us. There's a reason why you guys were brought here to play for us, right?
I love all of her messages that she's been saying. She's being a really good first time, owner. She's saying the right things, which is really nice to see, and saying great messages to the players. So
yes, she very much is. So all right, Jarrett. Well, thank you for joining us. You go off to work. I do appreciate it. And
thank you for the opportunity.
Congratulations on your marathon.
Yeah, it was 16 weeks of training, plus I ran 12 more hours on top of that, so I'm not doing that again. So I'll see you later.
All right, I'll see you.
Thank you. Bye, Dirty. See you. Bye-bye.
See you later, Jarrett. Thanks for Jarrett for joining us. Yes, Kyle, we will be talking about the games every week. As you guys know, we do broadcast every Tuesday. and Thursday afternoon at 11 o'clock Central Time. That would be noon on the East Coast, 10 o'clock on the Mountain Time, and 9 o'clock on the Pacific Time. We will talk about every single week. Every week, we will talk about the games, break everything down. Now, there are some other things that I like to know because here, I want to show you guys something else. Some more stuff from this Saturday is event in Arlington, Texas, where they had the hub practice at. And here is The Rock talking again. And as you see, it says right there, I meant every word that I said today to these players. So for this historical day, so let me get this ready for you, and here is what The Rock had to say to his players. Now, this is courtesy of the XFL on Twitter.
This, and I mean this from deep in my bones, from Jared Cardinal to Danny Garcia to myself. What never goes away is that chip, and what never goes away is that hunger. So when I say things like, you gotta be the hardest worker in the room, that's just not some cool catchphrase I say. That is real. That never goes away. So what you guys represent, every team, your colors, your number, the name of your team, what you represent this hunger. I want to personally thank all of you for committing to the XFL. Because this just isn't some side game that we have.
So I'm going to exit out of this because, listen, you guys can go to the XFL page on Twitter and find the stuff of where The Rock. Listen, I mean, look, if you think you're doing this, why wouldn't you do it with a little bit better mic for Dany and The Rock? That's just my opinion, but hey, XFL, you guys know what you need to do, right? Yes, Andrew, it is hard to hear, so go to their page, the Twitter page, and you guys can find it. It's on there. I mean, I wish they would have probably maybe, used the microphone with those guys or filmed it and then cut it up. But hey, it's the XFL. They pretty much do what they want. Now, Brett, Brett, I'm seriously, I'm gonna have to disagree. I'm seriously gonna have to disagree. I don't think they should open up the entire dome. I really don't. You're right, Brett. That echo in that building is very bad. I was in the building also for an event back in 2020 when we went to Arlington for the Battlehawks. But I don't think they should. I don't think that they should open up the dome. That's just my opinion. I literally think they should at least get 1 year. We should get 1 year, right? Now, when it comes to the playoffs or something like that, sure, open up a stadium. If you're going to do it in San Antonio for your championship game, or you're going to do it in St. Louis for your championship game, then open up the entire stadium. But right now for season tickets, no, I don't think you should, because it's you got to look at it this way. It's cost money to turn the escalators on. Then it costs money for and I'm going to explain to you, Brett, why I'm saying no, why I'm saying not do it. I'm going to explain it to you. I mean, think about what the ticket prices are. They're very cheap, very, very cheap. In St. Louis, I think I got season tickets. I got 4 season tickets, and my total bill was $450. I got 2 season tickets. I apologize. 2 season tickets, $450 for the season tickets. Okay. Now imagine, let's just do it at what my price was, which $25, right? So let's look at it. Ready? Okay. So now, mind you, mine was $450. Now let's times that. Let's go and see what the dome actually holds. Let's go see what the American Center. Let's go see what it holds. Right. Let's go see what it holds. So I just Googled it. So it says that this dome holds. Now, depending on your things, this one here, it says full stadium capacity, 67,277. Okay. So let's times that. Right there. Okay. 267. 67,277. Right. So if you do that, if you do it by the 450, that's going to be roughly just over $30 million, right? Now think about it. Like right here, Look, mister, they should wait until later in the season to open up with the cheap tickets on the upper decks. And maybe they should. But let's really look at this. It costs to open up the escalator, so that costs you money right there, okay? Most of these stadiums are 3-tiered stadiums. So you have, what, 1, 2, you probably have 20 sets of escalators in the dome, okay? 20 sets of escalators to open up, to get to the top levels, to upper levels, right? Okay. So, or $42 each. Yeah, okay. So, I get it, Brett. I'm just telling you what I paid for my tickets. Just telling you what I paid for my tickets, right? Now, and I'm going to explain. So now you've opened up the levels, right? So now you got to pay for all of the security to run that level, the second and third tiered level, right? You got to pay for all of them to run that security. Then you got to pay for all those concession stands to be open. Then you got to pay for all of those bathrooms to be open. Then you got to pay for all the people to work that, the people who clean the restrooms, who clean the concourse and stuff like that. You got to pay all of them, you know? So that's why I don't think you can do it. Now, like Andrew says here, until they can fill the dome consistently, it wouldn't make sense to open the top. Yes, and it wouldn't make sense to open it in any of the stadiums. Again, weekend playoffs and championship game for those 2 weeks, hell yeah, open everything up. Do it. 100% agree with that. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff. You got to have more police officers to work for the security, right? More people to work concessions, more people to clean the restrooms, more people to clean the concourse, more people to clean the insides of the stadium once the teams are gone. That costs a lot of money. If you can't do it on a consistent basis, I mean, sure, we could do it once, maybe twice in St. Louis, but imagine if the Battlehawks come into St. Louis 0-3 before week 4. Sure, we'll fill the dome up the first game. Then let's just say they go 0-4. And then when they come back, they're 1-4. I don't think you could fill the stadium a second time. I don't think you could. And same with the same with San Antonio. Imagine if San Antonio goes 0-3. You know, I mean, they're going to lose their first game to the Battlehawks anyways, so their home opener is going to be a disaster for them anyways. You know, so it's not going to matter. But then come week 2, and it's really going to depend on the team and how that team is doing. You know, I mean, we saw what happened in, like, here, prime example. You know, people talk about, you know, LA and Tampa, why the teams aren't there. The teams weren't playing well when they first came, and then they started getting better, right? And then people started coming. So it's really also going to depend on that product of the field, is also how it's going to defend. I mean, listen, Houston was 0-5. 0-5. Jimmy, buddy, I think your Rent-A-Hawks might go 0-5. And Jimmy, I need you to call me later on tonight when you have some time. I got to talk to you, bud. So call me, Jimmy, later on tonight. I got to talk to you. But I don't think it consistently could do it. I think a game here and there, sure, you could sell it. Home opener, of course, you could sell out the dome. Same in the Alamo Dome. I'm sure you can open it. You could sell it out in the Alamo Dome for the first game. But to do it on a consistent basis, I don't think you can. I mean, let's look. Hell, even NFL teams. Brett, I did say they were 5-0, but they didn't have very good attendance. They weren't able to sell out the lower bowl of their stadium, and they were 5-0. You're right. I did apologize. I did say 0-5. They were 5-0, and they couldn't even sell their lower bowl, and they were the best team in 2020. So, I mean, right now their tickets aren't selling, but I mean, you did make another point earlier that tickets are starting to sell well for the XFL. I mean, like Jimmy says right here, we are 18 days away till kickoff. We are literally 3 Sundays, 3 Sundays away from the XFL kickoff in Arlington. 3 of them, 3 Sundays away. We're away from the kickoff. So the question you have to ask as a fan, if we want these stadiums to all open up, right? It's us as a fan base. It's you guys who are on the show dictating what I talk about and all of that stuff. It's you guys to get out there and beat the drum. It's you guys to go into the Vegas pages and the Orlando pages and say, hey, go get your tickets. It's your guys' job to get into the Houston pages and say, hey, go get your tickets. Go get your tickets. It's your guys' job. It's the jobs as the fans. Because somebody up here earlier said that do we feel that the XFL has dropped the ball on their PR? Right here. DB Stallion says, do you think that HQ has dropped the ball in promotion area? Of course, you can see it. You guys see it all the time. You can see it all the time that they dropped it. Brett, but the whole entire stadium wasn't open. That they just barely had it. It wasn't a fully open stadium. Plus, that stadium they play in, if I'm not mistaken, isn't that a college football stadium that probably fits like 70,000 people, if I'm not mistaken? Right? So that's all I'm saying. Would I love for them to open up every single stadium to full capacity for the XFL? Hell yes, I would. Hell yes, I would. Do I think it's going to happen? No. And I'm still sticking by my guns. See, like Woody says right here, Fox is already pushing the USFL a lot. You are absolutely right. The question is are we going to see an XFL commercial at the Super Bowl? Don't know. I mean, the only time we really saw XFL commercials was during Monday Night Football. That was it. That was really it. That's the only time we saw it. It was on Monday Night Football. So that's the question. Here's how it goes. I mean, look what happened in San Antonio with those guys. Did in San Antonio with their fan fest. They put on a fan fest by themselves. St. Louis, you say you're the number one fan base, but we can't even get a fan fest going because you guys don't want to show up. San Antonio does one, and they have half a bar taken over from their fan fest. So good shout out to San Antonio. Look, we're 3 Sundays away, people, from the XFL kickoff, right? Question is how do we help this league succeed? How? Buy the merchandise. Go to their online. Go to their store. Buy their merchandise. That's what you do. Buy the tickets. Talk to somebody. Think about it. Every day, if you're living in an area. Oh, see? Okay. See, I don't watch ESPN much anymore. So Brian says if you watch ESPN all day, they do show XFL commercials. That's good to know. Then great. I'm glad they're doing that. But if you want this league to succeed, go out and talk to 2 people every day. If you're in one of those cities, I mean, Brett, you talk about the XFL. You're not even in an XFL city. You're in Birmingham. You're talking about you're going to Orlando. You might go to Vegas. I make a plan on going to Vegas to see an XFL game against the Battlehawks. Definitely going to try. Do you think we will see the Under Armour gear get released? I think we will. I don't think it's going to be as soon as everybody hopes it will be. That's just my opinion. Just my opinion. My speculation, I don't think it's going to be as soon as we want it to be. I think we're going to still be dealing with this stuff here, this type of gear right here for a minute. But, hey. I know, Andrew, my poor wife, she's had to listen to this my poor wife has had to listen to this for 4 years. Maybe that's why she went to South Carolina to be away from me. She don't have to hear about XFL stuff anymore. Does ESPN with the ABC channels? Yeah, ESPN still has Yeah, ESPN has Monday Night Football. Yeah, ESPN, Monday Night Football. So, I mean, listen, guys, if you're in an XFL city, go out and talk to 2 people. 2 people. Get them to buy season tickets. Talk to them about the XFL. Why the XFL is exciting. Hopefully we don't see the BS play that we saw against Joey Burr getting knocked on his butt in the last quarter and not get a pass interference call, but we get a late hit on Patrick Mahomes on the out of bounds, and we get hey, good job, Vince Goodell, for writing your script for Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes to make history. Good job on that one, buddy. I like how he did that. But again, guys, this is the X Fan Show. I am your host, Dirty Arlington. There you go, Woody. There you go. Or post stuff on your media pages. Mike says, obviously Vegas is the attraction, but it just feels too rushed playing at Cashman. San Diego Stadium has a nice stadium, but not too far away, which is a football stadium. Mike, but how well did they support the Chargers? That's the question. How well did they support the Chargers? The Chargers left. So that's the question. I mean, I know there was talks about taking them to San Diego, but you got to remember, there's one guy that's very important in all of this that is making decisions behind the scene besides DJ and Dany, and that's Jerry Gardell. He's making the decisions, and to me, sounds like that's where he wanted a team, in Vegas, sports betting capital of the world. So why not have a team there? So, I mean, yeah. Listen, I'm excited. 3 Sundays away. The XFL is coming. That's all I can say. I am your host, Dirty. Arlington couldn't join me today. Something came up. Something came up for Arlington. Thank you to Jarrett for joining me. And again, thank you. Thank you guys, all of you guys, for joining us. Tune in tomorrow night for the B-Hawk Live show with myself, Amanda, and Big Papa G. We'll be talking all Battlehawks. And this Thursday on the X Fan Show, we'll be breaking down, I think we're going to break down some rosters because we're starting to see the rosters and the camps coming and ending. So we're going to talk about some rosters on Thursday's show. So please go to all of our social media pages. Like us. Also go to our anchor page, XFan Network. Like, follow. You can catch all of our shows there. We are going to start be doing some special content that you're only going to find on our anchor page. We'll let you know when it's out, but you're only going to be able to find it on your anchor page. Because this show is about you guys. This is a show for the fans, by the fans. You guys dictate what we talk about. Other than that, I will see you guys Thursday on the X Fan Show. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. And God, it is cold here in St. Louis. Love yous.